gonna post it. Yeah, Thursday. All right, get started, please. All right, we started with this. We had no homework last night. We are gonna pretty much almost wrap up this chapter today. We're gonna do 3 kingdoms in 1 period. You'll see, it's not that bad. They'll give me the look of, oh my God, it's not that bad, I promise. Okay? Let's do this first. We got a bunch of little videos today, so it'll break it up. You don't have to listen to me too much today. I know you'll be happy about that. Get some water. Oh, I gotta plug in my speakers for the video. Oof. 10 bucks, whatever they're trying to spell is spelled wrong. Wait a minute first. Ready? Answer? Who's got it? Both answers. If you got both, bacon mint and the bathroom. No pressure. No, it's got to be from the notes. From the notes we've done this chapter so far. Derek. They're both. They're both living organisms. I need more than that. Any organism we've named this whole entire chapter is a living organism. I need a little more detail than that. Not much, but a little more than that. Good. They're both eukaryotes. That's one. Some protists are heterotrophs, some protists are autotrophs. So it's not that. So ready? Now the bacon mint's off the table because we know one answer already. One answer is they're both eukaryotes. So what's the other characteristic they have in common? Daniel?
They both eat, right? They both
Not all protists. Some protists are autotrophs. They don't eat at all. So I gotta say no on that one. Euglena won't eat. Yeah.
They both don't have cell walls.
They both do not have cell walls. True. That would be the second one. So really for this, you should have no cell walls and eukaryotes.
I thought we had cell walls.
Humans do not have cell walls. We have cell membrane. Don't mix them up, okay? Cell wall is plants in the past, and cell walls will be bacteria and fungi also. We'll do fungi in a few minutes. But look, listen. Do you see how you need to know the details to get these questions right?
Yeah.
I promise you next Thursday's test is going to be very detailed. It's not crazy hard. It's just easy to mix things up. Okay? So just go slow. It's going to be a lot of true-false on this next test. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to test it. You know these characteristics for all 5 of these kingdoms, and you'll see what I mean at the end of the period. Okay? So your answer should be no cell wall, and all are eukaryotes. Okay? Ready? Let's get started with this. There's no homework to go over, so we don't have to worry about that. Let's start fungi with the over-dramatic fungi video. What do you think? It's going to be awesome? Can't wait? Wait no longer. None of these are fungi yet. That's fun. Yep. Trouble. Very expensive. People love them. Super big bucks. Yeah, totally. That's why they're so cool. You ever see that on trees? That's a fungus you're touching. I said that's Carmine's foot this morning. Probably. All right. Do some notes for a second. Ready. So fungi. Raise your hand if you haven't heard from today that mushrooms are a fungus. Be honest if you didn't know. Okay, no problem. All right. Okay. Mushrooms are definitely fungus. Obviously, just like everything we've been mentioning in these kingdoms, some monorans are very healthy to eat. Put them on foods. They sell them in supermarkets all the time. However, be careful. Not in the supermarket, but if you're in the wild and in the woods, and you don't have somebody with you that knows what they're doing, you should not even touch a mushroom. There are certain mushrooms out there that are super, super toxic. That literally, if you touch it, and then hours later go bite your fingers, or fingernails, or touch your finger to your tongue, you could be rushing to the hospital very, very quickly. Super, super nasty, toxic stuff. Okay? Nah, not after it's been in your mouth, probably not. But yes, if you touch something and you're not sure, I would highly suggest you wash your hands very, very well. Okay? Again, the mushroom may not be toxic at all. It may be edible. But if you don't know, it may not be. Okay? All right? Some of these things are extremely nasty. All right, put you in the hospital if you make it to the hospital. That's how bad these things can be. All right, but again, some are edible. But if you don't know, do not try it. Okay, but fungi, mushrooms are fungi. If you haven't seen a piece of bread, all right, starting to get a little funky. All right, that's mold growing. It's actually using the bread for food. All right, so ready? Do you think fungi are autotrophs or heterotrophs? So it could be either or. Only heterotrophs?
No.
Both?
Actually, no, because they only eat stuff.
We'll find out. Good, we'll find out. Ready? Let's get through these first. Another type of fungi? Mildew? You ever seen this on a leaf? Some of you, maybe you have a basement bathroom or something with a shower. Sometimes you get some black mildew growing in the tile maybe or something. Okay? All right, look. Fungi are like bacteria. They like warm, dark, moist places with some food. Okay? All right? Always love those things. Those are the three 4 real things you need to get fungus to grow as well. Warmth, darkness, moisture, some water, and something to feed off of. Okay? All right? And lastly, you had facts this year, but I know you haven't been doing a lot of cooking. But if you were doing some cooking, you would have used the yeast and made some things this year. She usually has you use yeast to make something. I don't know what it is, but I remember the kids telling me every year, we used yeast today or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But yeast is a fungus, okay? Yeast is actually put in the breads, and that's what makes, you know why we put yeast in bread?
Make it rise.
What's it really doing? You know? Good. And that chemical reaction is giving off what gas? Gas. The opposite. Carbon dioxide. And it gives off carbon dioxide bubbles. And that's why the little spaces in your bread are roundish looking. As that carbon dioxide bubble stretches out, it makes the bread stretch out. And then as it stretches, that's the bread rising. It's really the carbon dioxide being released by the yeast, stretching that dough, spacing it out, making it rise in whatever it is it's cooking. Okay? All right? But yeast is very good for making breads. So ready? Well, let me do this first. So ready? While you're copying this, Dan, what's your question?
Are the mushrooms by us?
Absolutely, there's mushrooms near us. You have a
No,
nice shady spot in your. Oh, you do have some. You're saying?
No, like toxic. Are they
Toxic? I would say. Listen. Yeah, please stop. I would say probably yes, but I don't know for sure. I would not go around your yard and start eating mushrooms. Okay, all right. They're probably not edible. I don't know. All right. Do not take a chance. But yeah, there are definitely mushrooms on Long Island. There, again, I would have to research that. Do not take that chance. I really don't know.
Also, you're technically eating carbon dioxide, which is bad for you.
Not with mushrooms. With yeast, yes. Really, the yeast aren't carbon dioxide. The yeast are giving off carbon dioxide.
No, I'm saying like when you're eating bread.
Well, yeah, really that carbon dioxide eventually gets out of the bread and it's just an empty space at that point.
Oh.
You're really eating air at that point, really.
Why do you even need to expand the bread? Think of that.
What? To make the bread?
Yeah, why do you even need to?
Because then it would just be like a slab of dough. It'd be like making pizza without the sauce and cheese on it. You'd just be cooking a flat pizza. It's almost like making a pita then, or just a flat wrap shell. You know what I mean? You want it to rise and get the bread. Okay? So ready? Look. Fungi. Listen to this, okay? Fungi I call an in-between kind of kingdom. Because don't mushrooms look like they would resemble plants? Yeah. Right? And look, they have cell walls just like plants do. However, you should know they're eukaryotes. If not, they are. Okay? But look at the last one. They are all heterotrophs. Fungi do not sit in the sun and do photosynthesis and make energy. I just told you also, fungi like warm, dark places. They wouldn't like dark places if they needed sunlight for energy. All right? Fungi are heterotrophs. You probably learned this last year, I think somebody said, maybe in an ecology chapter. Bacteria and fungi are decomposers. Does that ring a bell? Yeah. All right, they break down dead stuff in the environment. Exactly what they're doing. They're actually feeding off of dead material. They're eating. They're heterotrophs. Again, mushrooms kind of look like plants and they have the cell wall like plants, but they're kind of animal-like because they're feeding. Again, you cannot put a mushroom and grow a mushroom out in that sunlight, number one, it'll dry it up. All right, but even if you did put a mushroom out there, unless there's something on the bottom that it can digest and break down and use for food, it's going to die. It's not going to use the sunlight for food. It doesn't do photosynthesis. Go ahead, Andrew. All right? Oh, you actually have a question?
Yeah.
Go.
So, I know that you said something about what decomposes that stuff.
Bacteria and fungi and bacteria for the most part.
So, I know that humans like release gas after they die.
Sure.
So is that how they get broken down or something?
Who they get broken down? You mean bacteria and fungi, Brent? Yeah, if a fungi definitely dies after a while, it could break down. Probably bacteria will break it down. No, look, bacteria, fungi, insects, worms, all kinds of stuff. Yes. Kayla. He just beat. As soon as he comes back, can you make it? Of course, he just beat you. All right, ready? Another quick video. This one's not intense. This is just a educational one, but it goes over a lot of the things I just said, okay?
In science. In this video, I'd like to talk about the kingdom fungi. The kingdom fungi is made up of mushrooms, mold, yeast, and lichen. Fungi are very important to life on Earth, and many work with plants in a symbiotic relationship. The following are some basic fungi facts. Fungi have a nucleus and membrane-bound organelles, so they are considered eukaryotic. Most fungi are heterotrophs and get their energy from other organisms. Most are unicellular, but some, like yeast, is unicellular. Fungi cannot move about. Fungi may look like plants, but they are not plants, and they are different from plants in several ways. Almost all fungi do not have chlorophyll, so they cannot practice photosynthesis. They reproduce with spores, not seeds. Many fungi have cell walls made of chitin instead of cellulose, like plants. Molds have cell walls of cellulose, so they are an exception. Many fungi break down decaying matter and absorb nutrients using a
Go on, what teacher is that? That's definitely Mr. Gord.
network of fibers called hyphae. Hyphae are tube-like structures that grow and cover a food source,
Ready?
which allows them to digest and absorb nutrients.
These hyphae, these are like roots of a plant. Except, they don't just absorb water from the soil. Ready? This is how they work. They actually release enzymes onto dead material, like a leaf sitting on the ground. And what they do is they actually release enzymes. And the enzyme actually turns that leaf into liquid, liquefies it, digests it, break it down. And then these hyphae, like these roots, they suck up those juices from that broken down leaf, from those enzymes. And once it gets into the fungus itself, it uses that for nutrients and do whatever it needs to do, pretty much respiration. All right, so they're kind of like little roots that have enzymes, break things down, absorb it, spread out, find something else that's dead, break it down, suck it up, absorb it, and use all that stuff for energy and food. Okay?
Nutrients. Many fungi, like mushrooms, have a visible fruit which is easily seen, and a mass of hyphae called a mycelium, and most likely this mycelium is hidden from view. There are four main types of fungi. The first is zygomycota, and many of these fungi are molds. They produce spores on the tips of their hyphae. A common example is bread mold. Next are club fungi. They have a dome-shaped part where reproductive spores are produced. Common examples are mushrooms. Next are sac fungi. These fungi produce reproductive spores in a sac-like structure. Common examples include yeast, mildew, and lichen. And finally, you have the imperfect fungi. This group is like your junk drawer of fungi. The fungi, they don't
When you shave that foot, that's how they make churros.
really fit anywhere else. Go here. However, each of these fungi reproduce asexually. Athlete's foot is an example. And finally, fungi can reproduce both sexually and asexually. Thanks for watching, and I hope this helps with fungi, and Moo Moo Math uploads a new math and science video every day. Please subscribe and share.
I thought Logan, 5th period, was going to lose it. He went, oh. I thought he was really going to throw up. It was right after lunch. Logan. he didn't like that joke at all. He was like, oh, it was funny. Ready? Any questions on fungi? Okay. Look, again, pay attention to all these little details, okay, everybody? All right? They're changing a little bit here or there for each kingdom, and again, we're only on the third kingdom. All right? We still got two more with some same but some different characteristics. I promise you this test, if you don't know the details, it's going to be tricky. And we'll work on a lot of the details on Monday. I have a sheet that's going to help you hopefully review. All right? And then we'll finish up the chapter Tuesday, maybe Wednesday also, and then you're going to have your test Thursday. All right? So ready? Plants is next. Plants are next. Want to see a nice over dramatically video about plants? Yeah. Gabby? After Kayla, yes. Ready? Here we go. Same guy. You can tell by now between the music and the words. This is plants. That's my last dramatic video. There's not one for animals, if you're gonna ask.
It's pretty much everything is plant.
A lot of things. Plants are involved with a lot of stuff.
Trees are plants, right?
Definitely. Ready? Plants. You're gonna tell me the notes for this one because you should be pretty familiar with all these characteristics and whether plants have them or not at this point. Ready? Please stop. Let's see if everybody agrees with you. Are all plants on this planet, all of them now, It's got to be true for all of them. Are all plants multicelled?
Yes.
Yes. No.
It's a trick question. Don't fall into the trick. Yes. Yes.
Raise your hand if you think yes, every single plant on this planet is multicellular. Raise your hand if you think there are a few unicellular plants out there. Take a guess. Raise your hand for both, didn't you?
No.
Oh, I thought you did. All right, ready? Only multicellular. No unicellular plants. All right, they probably protists or monorans at that point. You should know the second one. Cell walls or no cell walls?
Yes.
Yes on cell walls?
Yes.
How do you know? Raise your hand, please. Karamia?
Well, I don't follow the leg. It has a nucleus.
Oh, that's our next one. Just cell walls or not?
But it has a cell. And
Well, everything in this chapter had a cell. Even a monoran, a protist, they all had a cell. This has many cells. All right? But cell wall, raise your hand if you think they all have cell walls. They should. When you did cells and did plant cells, you always said they had cell walls. Animal cells didn't. Plant cells do. Ready? Eukaryotes or prokaryotes? What? Eukaryotes? Raise your hand if you think plants are eukaryotic. You think they all have nucleuses?
yes.
They definitely do. You should have learned that in 5th and 6th also. Comparing plant and animal cells, they always had a nucleus. Yeah, Andrew.
So I think I asked this earlier, on Monday maybe, on the.
Go ahead, doesn't matter. Go, what's your question?
It was on a
Yeah?
So, okay. I know that we were talking about like how there was about autotrophs and
Mhm.
heterotrophs. Now I think I said like something about like so are all plants autotrophs? If they were, what is it?
Here's our next question. I'm going to ask the next question. Ready? Tell me what you think. Are all plants autotrophs?
No. No. No.
No.
There's
like 5 plants that eat other things.
Yeah, but then how do they grow? How do they grow? By eating stuff. They don't eat it. Well, if they do both. Well, they do both.
They all have
No, they change. They adapt.
I like it.
No, because like
I like it. You're all forming your own opinion.
no, because
They change when they get older.
Yep. Ready? Ready? Raise your hand if you think all plants are autotrophs. Raise your hand if you think some can be heterotrophs. Can all plants be heterotrophs?
No.
Good, you shouldn't have your hand up for that one. But ready? And I'll explain before you jump and bark at me. All plants are autotrophs. Certain plants, like the pitcher plant, the sundew, and the Venus flytrap, again, they do produce chloroplasts and have chloroplasts and do photosynthesis. They need sunlight to grow. That's their primary source of getting their energy. They just have this extra strange ability that most plants don't, to trap things like insects, actually dissolve them, break them down with enzymes, and use them for extra nutrients. But all plants are autotrophs. These few plants can kind of be heterotrophic. They're not really eating and chewing. They're actually releasing enzymes, dissolving and absorbing their digested juices. All right? Andrew, go ahead.
But that still counts as a different way of getting energy. I mean, they get it through photosynthesis, I understand that.
Good.
But they use both.
We're ready? All plants are autotrophic. I can't put all, and I can't, if I put some are heterotrophic, that means they are only heterotrophic. Do you understand that? So be careful. You're just having a hard time wrapping your head around it. Primarily, yeah, but are all plants autotrophic then?
All of them have.
That's true. So how would you try to phrase this to include the Venus flytrap with the heterotrophics? Yeah.
Not same like plants, but like you put them in
A subcategory?
yeah.
And honest, when you do classification, that's where they would be separated into different categories. Probably a different family or genus or species, something like that. Don't forget that from the beginning of the chapter, okay? Remember, we're just doing the kingdoms, right? So there's a lot of different things in the kingdoms. As you go down the classification levels, it starts to sort them out. You understand that? Yeah. But you understand that? That's where they would get divided later on. Remember, we're just doing the kingdom, so there's not a lot of differences here. Exactly. Totally very vague generalizations. Ready? How are we doing time-wise? Let me show you the sundew. You've all seen a Venus flytrap. If not, you just saw it in the video if you were watching. I want to show you this sundew. If you've never seen the sundew, number one, I just think it's a strange, cool-looking plant. But let me describe to you what's going to happen first.
Oh, this was what I was about to say.
All right, good. All right? These droplets are not, well, some of it's water, most of it's sugar. And it's sweet, and that's what attracts the bugs. And you all know sugar, after a while, it gets sticky. So this is like super sticky sugar and digestive enzymes.
Wait, can you close that
So what
window?
happens is, when something like a fly lands on this and something touches it, first of all, it's attracted to it for the sweet smell. And then once it lands on this plant, and if any of its legs or antenna touch the sticky droplets, it gets stuck. I'll do it then. All right? It gets stuck in the sticky droplets. It's like glue or tape or whatever you want to call it. Okay? And it can't get out. And you're going to see, it's only 30 seconds or so, but eventually all these little red branches, they actually start enclosing around the fly. And all this has digestive enzymes on it that will eventually digest this entire fly, liquefy it, and then we'll absorb those liquids in and use it for energy. On top of, yeah, it's kind of like a medieval crazy plant. Let me show first. Well, watch, you'll see. The fly's stuck. Look at his legs are all tangled on one of those things. It's so sticky, it can't get off. Now watch the plant.
What happens if you grab one?
Now the plant knows it's got something.
How long does this take?
Not long. That's probably live. That's probably actual, not time lapse. Because look, the fly is still trying to get away. But he's so stuck, he's not going anywhere. I wish they'd let this go longer, but it just takes a while. This will actually curl over the entire thing. And all these droplets will come into contact with this thing.
How does
And the lily just holds on to it and eventually digests it and absorbs it. No, I gotta do, that's just somebody's on the thing. Oh, this one? Yeah, let's, if we have time. We still have to do animals. We haven't done animals yet. No, you're too big for them. Ready?
But it can, like, if you chopped off your finger, can it, like, digest that?
Maybe.
It said it
It
was
might
like-
take a really long time, but maybe. What's your question, Dan? Quick.
How does it, like, once it uses those droplets, how does it get them back? Does it just, like, drop?
It's in the ground, absorbs water, and makes do.
Oh, and then, so, like, sucks out all of everything out of it? Or
As much as it can, sure. The stuff that breaks down soft into material. The outer shells, no. But all the stuff on the inside, the guts and
then
stuff,
how does it get to the inside? If
it works right through the shell.
no,
Ready? Same thing. Animals. Multi or single? All? All? All multi. Every single animal.
Yes.
Multi?
Yes.
Can you think of an example then, Jimmy, or you just think I'm setting you up?
You're setting me up, and I don't like it.
Not setting you up.
I hear you.
I love you, buddy.
I hear you.
I love you.
No, you don't.
I love you.
No, you don't.
Jimmy, even the people at home can be my witness. I love you, Jimmy. I love Jimmy Riley. You know what the best is, Jimmy? I love you and you can't stop me. Ready? All animals are definitely multi-celled. Cell walls or cell membranes? Or I should say cell walls or no cell walls? So ready? Cell walls or no cell walls? No cell walls. You never saw a cell wall on an animal cell when you did it in 5th or 6th grade. They definitely have cell membranes. So do plants. Plants just have a membrane and a wall.
Isn't that so they can like stand up?
Yeah, that's what gives it. Yeah, the tree's able to not blow over every time it's windy. Eukaryotes or prokaryotes? Eukaryotes? Nucleuses? Correct. No? Yeah. Only one of those was. Correct. Heterotrophs or autotrophs? All? What about herbivores eating plants? Good. Good. All right? A lot of people, every now and then I'll get a kid to say, well, what about a vegetarian or animals that only eat plants? They're still eating. They're just eating autotrophs, but they're not autotrophs, Delaney. They're not sitting in the sunlight and making their own energy. If you eat plants, you're still a heterotroph. You're eating something for energy and food. Okay? All right? Now look. Listen. Come on, please. Everybody with the mumbling? Listen. You need to know all these details. Ready? What's the only kingdom that is not eukaryotic? Raise your hand, please. Amy? Monterey. Which kingdoms are or could have organisms that are autotrophic? Which kingdom? These could be great short answer questions, and if you don't know them, you're going to be in trouble next Thursday. Wait. What kingdoms could have organisms that are autotrophs in it? Jimmy James? And? What?